Hello everyone. Today I'm gonna talk about finance and some of the things and habits that I have created over time that have helped me get to where I am. So I have a master in business administration and I was able to create a business while I still had a full-time job. And I was able to do that following good habits on managing money that I think not only will help you in your personal life, but it would also help you if you ever wanted to start a business or if you're ever running a big company. The first habit that I would recommend that you have is living within your means. And I mean by this is just spending the money that comes in and just spending that, not going overboard. I mean that don't go on debt just to buy things that you want to have because you don't have the money right now to buy them. So one rule of thumb that I always use for myself is that if I don't have the money in cash right now to buy something, I basically don't buy it. So I don't go and use my credit card or you go into a line of credit or something just to get a specific thing that I can afford right now. I always try to have that money in cash first. I'm living within my means. Why is this? Credit card debt is really high. Interests are really high. It's around 20% just for credit card debt. Line of credits, they have a lower rate, but keep in mind that it also has high interest and it can fluctuate, so it's not fixed all the time. And when you go into that type of debt, means that you are basically acquiring something that is beyond your means. It's something that you cannot cover with your income, so you have to get into debt, and that can put you in a specific vulnerable point if something happens down the road or in the future. Of course, there are exceptions to this rule. Maybe you want to buy a house, that's different. Maybe you want to pay yourself for a university degree or some type of education. Of course, those are exceptions. Like a car, that might also fall into that, although I believe that purchases like a car, there are many options out there that you can choose from that maybe allows you not to get into debt, but we'll talk about that later. The second habit that I would recommend that you have is pay yourself first, and this comes from the book Rich Dad Poor Dad that I really like. It's one of the best for finance, and in that book he says when you get paid your salary, as soon as possible get the money out that will go to your savings, something that will pay you first, and then you pay the bills. This will help you build over time that savings pile that will allow you to be free in the future, or that will allow you to invest in other areas. So what I would recommend, when you get your salary, get that money out first, pay yourself first, put it in a savings account, and then go and spend the other. Rule of thumb, you can be safe around 10% of what you generate in income. That's basic. It's something that you can start with. I recommend that to be the minimum, like save 10% in a savings account and then spend the rest. The third habit that I would recommend is that you track your income and expenses. You need to be able to make a budget, and you need to be able to know how much you're spending in each one of those items in your budget, because that's what will let you know where your money is going to. Okay, and this is where one of those tools like budgeting comes into place. Think about like Mint Wine app also. It's also a good place to track your budget and to track your income and expenses, but you need to do something, even if it's just a spreadsheet. Just open a spreadsheet, Google Sheets, and start putting in there how much is your income, how much is your expenses. I mean, I did that for years. I still do it today. Although I have other budgeting, but I still have a spreadsheet in there where I have all of my incomes and my expenses. So I know how much I'm spending every month and how much I'm going over budget. This is integral to know where your money is going and how you're making that money work for you, where each dollar is going to. That's what will help you out, having and tracking a budget and your income and expenses. The fourth habit that I would recommend is that you invest in yourself, in your education. There's no better investment than in your knowledge. As soon as you invest in that in the future, then you will be able to maybe get other type of income and increase your income. But also it will increase your knowledge around money and how to manage money. So one thing that I read from a previous book, and that book I read it many years ago about habits that millionaires have, is that one of the things that you will find in the home of a millionaire is that they have a library. and they usually have a library of many books that they have read through many years. Learners have the habit of reading and educating themselves because they know that is the only way for them to grow and to be able to maybe get more opportunities and generate businesses and generate more income. So that's something that I would always recommend for yourself. Get into education, get books, read and grow. The fifth habit is saving. There's no better thing to do than save and have that pile of cash that in case you need it in the future. I always recommend that you have at least some savings so you can invest down the road. So you can invest in bonds, stocks, anything that you find that you learn how to work and you learn how you can invest in that, then for sure you need at least some savings in there so you can build that in the future. And you can also build that equity. Build that account that then you can use down the road to be free if you need to retire, if you need to take a vacation. At least you have some savings in there. Even to do a purchase, maybe you want to buy something that it's a little big, then have some savings in there so then you can buy that. Think about a small car that you want to buy in cash. You can do that if you save. There is a power in there in saving because that's what's going to increase your wealth. And maybe you can use that money, like I said, to invest in other things. The sixth habit that I would recommend is that you focus on long-term financial goals. Focusing on the short term will only make you make more spending and everything that comes in, maybe spend it out. Like I said, let's say you want to buy a car. There are ways to do that without having to get into debt. And that's when it comes into long-term thinking about your finances. Let's say you want to buy a car. How much do you need to save every month to get to buy a car maybe by the end of the year or maybe by next year? So that's how you put your goals. Like, what do I need? What do I want to accomplish? And what do I need to do today? What habits do I need to change in my finance to be able to get to that goal and get what I want, maybe buy a car? And this is the technique that I use to be able to start a business when I had a full-time job. So I put myself into my long-term financial goal of saying I need to be able to quit my job when my business I start doing this much. But I also needed to invest money in that business, which means how much do I need to get out of my current job as money out so I can invest it in the business and that business can grow. You cannot invest everything, right? So you always go into a small amount, but the idea is that to get yourself into a goal in the future, maybe 2 years, 3 years, what do you need to do? What do you need to plan to get to that specific goal that you want? The seventh habit is to stop keeping up with the Joneses. Yes, so you will always find people around you that have more things and that buy expensive things and buy luxury things. For me, that has never been a temptation because I know how much I can get to, how much I can invest, how much I can spend. My habits of managing money are not the same as the habits of the people around me. Other people might be buying a luxury car, getting into debt, getting into a lease, having a big house. Like, there's a bunch of things that they can have and that's good for them. Perfect, but me, my habits are different. I'm with living within my means and not keeping up with other people because that I know that can get me really fast into debt. And getting into debt for me is something that will not get me to my long-term financial goals. Doing that means I'm thinking on the short term, I want this and I want it now. For me, it's better to want something and wait in the long term until I have enough to buy that in cash. Finally, don't neglect your financial education. Always be looking for help regarding finances. If you need help trying to get a counselor regarding finances to help you out, always be looking for books or magazines that talk about business, talk about economics, so you learn the basics around how banks work, how mortgages work, how investment works. If you're gonna invest into something, make sure that you do your due diligence to understand how that investment works. You're gonna go into crypto, find out how it works, how you can invest, how you can get your money out. You're gonna go into stocks, find how stocks works, how do they pay dividends, how do they go up, how do they go down. That will help you invest in your money. That will help you into managing your money. Even rent. We know that renting and buying property has its own things. Learn about that, how it works, what maintenance do they need. The more learning you do regarding your finances, the more that will help you increase your wealth and increase your well-being. So thanks for staying until the end. I hope you like it, and be sure to subscribe so you can get more videos like this around how to improve your finances, how to improve your business, and how to be more productive. Thank you.